Hi, hello, good evening. How are you children? Hope you're doing well. I think we'll be starting off with the third part of how do organisms reproduce. And I also want to let you know that in the previous session, a few of you have asked questions about female feticide and population stability. So I've added those slides here. I hope you will be able to watch it. I am not seeing any of the students joined here, but the video is available on YouTube. The question that you have asked will be answered. Kindly watch the video. All right, and if there is any doubts, please post the comments as I usually tell you, so that I will take it up in my next session. All right. So the question asked was about female feticide children. First of all, let us understand what is this female feticide. All right. So female feticide means it is the abortion which parents do to a female child the moment they get to know that the mother is carrying a female. Okay. So whenever the lady is pregnant, they go for scans, correct. So in the scan centers, the reason why the scan is being done is to find out if the growth and development of the baby is good. The second thing, they are going to do the scanning to check if the baby is suffering from any kind of genetic disorder. Okay. But what people do in rural or even urban places is they try to identify what is the sex of this baby. Is it a male or a female? And once they get to know that it is a female, they try to kill the female child. Okay. So what do doctors do? They do ultrasound scanning, that is ultrasonography, as well as a technique which is called as fetoscopy. And by this technique, we are able to identify the gender of the baby, whether it is a boy or a girl. And then they just go for abortion. That is what is female feticide. Okay. So what is the reason for this female feticide? What are the causes for female feticide? The first thing is obsession for a son. The society thinks that if the child is a boy, it's a big pride. He is going to take care of my property, he is going to take care of me, he is going to take care of my family. Or it could be the stress of dowry. Okay, if it is a lower class family who are not well to do, what they think is if a female child is born, then it becomes a burden to them. They have to add for they have to give dowry for that particular child. So they try to kill the child. The third one is parents think that if it is a female child, there is more of financial obligation. I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to buy jewels, I have to construct a house, I have to give dowry. So many kind of obligation. Parents think that it is an obligation if I have a female child. The fourth one is, earlier days there were no much technologies to identify if the child is a boy or a girl. So until and unless the baby is born, people never knew whether it is a boy or a girl. But now, because of improvement in medical conditions, in the advances in technology, people are able to identify the sex of the baby even before it is born. So by the third or fourth month, the doctor is going to tell you if the baby is a boy or a girl. So by 3 months, the abortion is done. And the last one is, some of the doctors, just for the sake of money, they try to do this abortion. Okay. But anyway, that is not a major cause or concern. So what is the consequence of this female feticide? What do you think will happen? There is a decrease in the female population. So if you look at the overall population, of late, the boys are making statements that they are not getting a girl for marriage. Okay. So the ratio of boy to girl, the male to female ratio is drastically decreasing, where there are no ladies, or there is no girl available for marrying a boy. So not only that, it is going to take an effect on the woman, the mother who is carrying the child. Definitely she has been carrying the child, it could be for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever month, and suddenly if there is an abortion, that is happening, she is going to face that emotionally, physically as well as mentally. Okay, so it is definitely going to affect the mother's health physically as well as mentally. Apart from that, since these females are thought as not needed to the society, what men do is they try to abuse and sexually assault these female. Okay, so if it is a female child, even be it in a school or a college, they take it for granted and they try to abuse the women. Alright, so what has this led to? It has led to so many of the girls being kidnapped, they are brought and also sold for the purpose of marriage. So overall, what is happening is the suicide rate is increasing in case of women. Alright. So if you look at the female feticide data in India, you can see that earlier, that is in 1991, we had 945 females to 100 males, if you look at the ratio. But now you can say that for 927 females, there are 1000 males. This is in 2001. So now it is 2024. So it is even more drastically decreased. Okay, so you can see the graph here. By 2011, it is almost less, around 900 only. All right. So this is what is the rate of female feticide, which has increased by almost 50%. Okay, so that's about female feticide, whatever the person asked last class, I have explained. And the second concept one student who asked was about population stability. What is population stability? I will just give you a gist of what is population stability. Population stability is a particular population being stable with respect to its offsprings. Let's say I take the population of a human being or population of cats or dogs. Unless and until the dog or cat or even human being reproduces, there will be no offspring. Okay, so if a particular population needs to be stable, that means I have 10 individuals in an area. If I want these 10 individuals to be stable, that means maintained constant, definitely one person will grow old and one person will die. So there will be decrease in that population rate. Correct? I cannot have 10 individuals always in that particular area, because aging is happening and also death is happening. If I want that area to have 10 individuals or more, then what should happen? Reproduction should happen. So if there is a death, there has to be a birth to balance that stability. Okay, so as long as this birth and death rates are balanced in an area, the population is stable. And who is going to maintain this stability? It is just the process of reproduction which is going to maintain this stability. Okay, so now let's take up a few questions which is being asked in the previous year question papers. So I've started off with the MCQs, then we have assertion and reason, as well as the long and short answer question which you can go through. Okay, the first question says, what do seminal vesicles add to the semen? Proteins, sugar, fructose, sperm, A and B. So here we have the question which is asked by the accessory gland. So seminal vesicle is not the main gonad, it is an accessory gland. And what is it going to add? Definitely not sperms. Sperms is added by the gonads, that is spermatogonia. Correct? So spermatogonia is going to add the sperms, and this is a part of the testis. Okay, so definitely sperm cannot be the answer. So it is going to be A and B. So seminal vesicle, what is? Very good evening Mahalakshmi, very good. Okay, so you have given answer B. Good evening Vishwashri, this is a new name. Okay, Vishwashri. All right. Okay, there is some amount of protein content also present. Okay, here seminal vesicle is basically the semen. Okay, semen has lot of components. Okay, along with sugar, fructose, it has many other components. It has enzymes. Enzymes are nothing but proteins, correct? So semen has got enzymes. So whenever there is enzymes, enzymes are nothing but proteins. So definitely it is going to add to the protein content also. So that is why we say it is A and B. So all of you have given B, ma. The answer is both, that is protein as well as the sugar fructose. Remember that semen is a composition which is going to have many things. It is not just fructose. Okay, it is having fructose, it is going to have enzymes also. All right. Okay, which of the functions are performed by the ovaries? Formation of the ovum, secretion of progesterone, secretion of estrogen, all of the above. Okay. So here we are talking about ovaries, and ovaries are going to be the gonad of the female. So what do you think the ovaries are going to do? Is it going to help in the formation of ovum, secretion of progesterone, secretion of estrogen, or all of the above? Okay. I think now students are joining. Today we have started the class a little early at 6 o'clock. I am not sure if you had received the information. Okay. So you can put in your answers. Okay. What is the ovary going to do? Ovary, is it just going to be associated for the ovum, or is it going to be associated with the release of progesterone and estrogen? I don't see anyone giving the answer. So it is going to be all the above, because ovary is a good Lidin. Good evening. Okay, you have given the correct answer. Mahalakshmi says A. Yes, ma, yes. Okay. So here the main function of the ovary is to release the egg. Correct? And ovary is going to be a part of the female reproductive system, which means it is going to take care of pregnancy. It is going to take care of the female secondary sexual characters. Correct? So it is going to be releasing progesterone, which is a pregnancy hormone. It is going to be releasing estrogen, which is a hormone which is responsible for the female secondary sexual characters as well as for the release of the ovum. Okay, it is going to take care of all, because we have the uterine hormones as well as the ovarian hormones. Okay, the placenta. What does the placenta do? Filters oxygen, glucose and other nutrients to the baby via the umbilical cord, removes carbon dioxide and waste products from the baby's blood. Both A and B, none of the above. Okay. So what is the placenta? I hope you all know what is placenta. Placenta is going to be a connecting link between the mother and developing fetus. Correct? So this placenta is the only connection through which the mother and baby is going to communicate. Correct? So what is the placenta going to do? I think as of now, yes, very good. Lidin says A. Okay. Netra has given both A and B. Okay. All right. Mahalakshmi says C. Yes. So most of them have got it right. So it is going to be both A and B. That means it is going to filter the oxygen, glucose as well as the other nutrients, and it is going to remove the waste products including carbon dioxide. Okay. So it is going to be both A and B. Okay, which of the following is another barrier method of contraception? Diaphragm, withdrawal, sterilization, all of the above. So we are talking about contraceptive methods. So what is a contraceptive method? A method which is going to prevent unwanted pregnancy. Correct? So we have different methods of preventing pregnancy, and here they have asked which is a barrier method. Okay, what is a barrier method? A physical compound which is going to prevent the sperm from entering the egg. Okay, so I am physically going to keep something so that the sperm does not reach the egg. That's a barrier method. Okay, so what do you think is the answer? Sterilization is family planning. Okay, that is a permanent method. Okay, most of them have given option B. Okay. Okay, sterilization is going to be a permanent method where it is vasectomy and tubectomy, children. Okay. So vasectomy and tubectomy is family planning. Once for all, they are going to have pregnancy ended. Okay, this is a permanent. Withdrawal method is a natural method. Okay, this is a natural method. It is not a barrier method. Alright. So withdrawal method is a natural method. It does not have any physical barriers to prevent the sperm from entering the egg. It only prevents the entry of sperms from entering the female reproductive system. Okay. So barrier method is diaphragm. Okay. So diaphragm means it's a something like this, okay, which is not allowing the sperm to reach the egg. Good evening, Rakesh. I think just now he is joined. Okay. So barrier methods, something like condoms. Okay. It can't be all of the above, ma. All of the above means barrier method means something like condom. Okay. That's a barrier method. So diaphragm is also similar to that, which is not going to allow the sperms from to reach the eggs. All right. Yes, Netra, it is A. Okay. So which of the following sterilization method is permanent? So we just discussed this. Vasectomy, tubal sterilization, IUDs, A and B. Okay. Okay, Rakesh, I am Payal. Okay. Good evening, Payal. I did not know. So you are typing in the name of Rakesh. So I have to read it that way. But now I got to know. All right. Okay, Netra, no issues. Okay. So here they have asked which is the sterilization method. We just discussed the sterilization method, correct? So I hope all of you know what is IUD. IUD stands for intrauterine device. Okay. Intra means inside. Uterine is uterus. Okay. So we are going to place a device inside the uterus, and that device is not going to allow the sperms to reach the egg. That is what is intrauterine device. Okay. So permanent sterilization is vasectomy, tubectomy, both. So it is going to be option D, which is A and B. Okay. So what is this intrauterine device? Copper T. Okay. So we have so many devices. Copper T, copper 7. So how does it look if this is the uterus? Why are they calling it copper T? Because it is taking the shape of T. Copper 7 means it is taking the shape of 7. So they are calling it as copper because they are making use of copper ions. And these copper ions are going to destroy the sperm. Alright. So the T will be kept like this, or 7 will be placed like this, so that the sperms don't enter and they are killed. So here permanent method is going to be vasectomy and tubectomy, which is option D. All right. Okay, we have an assertion and reason question here. Assertion is saying growth hormone stimulates the growth of different body parts. The reason says gonadotropins stimulate the production of sex hormones. Okay. Growth hormone is stimulating the growth of different parts. Gonadotropin stimulates the production of sex hormones. So which of the assertion is correct? Do you think both assertion and reason are correct? If yes, is it the correct explanation or not the correct explanation? Is the assertion true or reason false? Or assertion false, reason true? Okay. You can give your answers. I think since it's a Saturday, not many of the regular students are here. Okay. So Payal says assertion is false, reason is true. Netra also says the same thing. Okay, now they are changing it to C, D. Okay, let's go through this. Growth hormone stimulates the growth of different body parts. It is a growth hormone. So definitely it has to promote growth. Correct. What is the use of growth hormone? The use of growth hormone is gonadotropins. I will explain. Okay. So growth hormone is definitely going to increase the rate of growth. Correct. If there is no growth hormone, the person will not grow at all. People may appear very short. You must have seen dwarfs in movies. correct? They may be 35 years, 40 years, still they are very, very short. Why? Because the growth hormone is not functioning properly in them. So, the main function of growth hormone is to increase the growth. Now, what is this gonadotropins? Netra has asked what is gonadotropins. So, you see the word Netra, gonadotropins, it has gonads. Correct? See, biology is very, very simple if you understand the term. The answer lies in the question itself. If you read, you get the answer. Okay? So, what is gonadotropins? The hormones which is going to stimulate gonads. Correct? What are gonads? Gonads are testis in case of male, ovary in case of female. Correct? Yes. So, what are they going to release? Testis is going to release testosterone, ovary is going to release estrogen. So, aren't they sex hormones? Yes. Correct. Okay. So, assertion is telling the correct thing. Reason is also telling the correct thing. But the assertion is talking about the growth of the person, whereas the reason is talking about sex hormones of the person. So, there is no correlation between the assertion and the reason. So, what we can say, both assertion and reason are true, but the reason is not the correct explanation of the assertion, which is option B. All right. Next question. So, we have an assertion which says, okay, welcome Netra. Okay, assertion is telling testis lies in the penis outside the body. Reason says sperms require temperature lower than the body temperature for development. Okay. So, what is the assertion telling? Assertion is talking about, Payal, you can just replay the session and get the answer. Okay, because we have a lot of questions to discuss. So, in case you did not understand, kindly replay this session at this particular minute. You can understand what it is. Okay. So, assertion is talking about testis which is lying in penis outside the body. Reason says the sperms require temperature lower than the body temperature for development. Okay. All right. Mahalakshmi says D. Okay. I think Netra is also saying D. Okay. Anybody else who would like to give the answer? I have Litin, I have Payal for the day, and yeah, I think these are the students who are giving the answers. Okay. So, as of now, Litin also says D. Okay. Reason is true. Everyone knows the reason is true. But why is that nobody knows about the location of the testis? Yes? Nobody has spoken about the assertion. Netra has only said reason is true. What about the assertion? You have to say assertion is right or wrong, right? Okay. So, testis definitely does not lie in the penis. It is going to lie in a structure called as scrotum. Correct? Outside the body. Penis is the external genitalia. Dhanush Shetty, good evening Dhanush, you were not there so long. Dhanush is talking about A. No, Dhanush, it is wrong. So, penis is a external genitalia of the male. Correct? Does not have the testis. Testis is present in a structure called as scrotum. And the reason why it is present in the scrotum is because it needs, yes Netra, yes, okay, because it needs a temperature which is lower than the actual body temperature for spermatogenesis. Okay. So, spermatogenesis is formation of the sperms, and for the formation of the sperms there is cold temperature which is required, and that cold temperature is given by a structure called as scrotum and not the penis. So, assertion is wrong, but the reason is correct. Okay, so assertion says double fertilization is unique to angiosperms. Reason says triple fusion occurs in asexual reproduction. Okay, very simple question this is. So we have different options here: assertion true, reason false, reason true, assertion false. If both are right, is it the correct explanation? Okay, yes, Payal, I read your reply. Okay, so what do you think is the answer here for the assertion? Double fertilization is unique to angiosperms. The reason is talking that triple fusion occurs in asexual reproduction. Dhanush says B, that both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation of the assertion. Okay, what is angiosperms? Litin is asking what is angiosperms. Angiosperms means flowering plants. Okay, flowering plants are called angiosperms, Litin. So any plant which produces a flower, that's called as a flowering plant. Okay, I think most of you are not aware of this concept, is it? I don't know. Okay, most of them say B. All right, all right. I don't know. Is it not there in your syllabus? But I saw this question being asked the CBSE level. Okay. All right. So double fertilization means fertilization which is happening twice, children. Okay. Fertilization happening 2 times is what is double fertilization. Okay. So this is a very important characteristic of angiosperms. All right. Okay. This is a very important characteristic of angiosperms. That means only flowering plants show what is called as double fertilization, which is correct. Okay. So what is that double fertilization? In case of flowering plants, we have a structure called as embryo sac. It looks like this. Okay, I don't want to confuse you with many things, but just know that this is a structure called as embryo sac inside the flower. Okay, inside the plant. Okay, in a female plant. So this is the egg. These two nuclei in the center, they are called as polar nuclei. All right. This is called as a polar nuclei, and in the embryo sac, here I have a structure called as the egg. So when the pollen grains come and meet the stigma, what happens is they enter to the embryo sac. One of the pollen grain, that is one of the male gamete, will fuse with the egg, and the other male gamete is going to fuse with the polar nuclei. All right. It's going to fuse with the polar nuclei. So one is fusing with the egg, the other one is fusing with the polar nuclei. Okay. So egg is haploid here, male gamete is haploid here. So we have N and N here, which is going to give in a diploid individual, that becomes the zygote. Whereas here the polar nuclei, it is already diploid. 2 nuclei are there, 2N, correct? So I have another male nuclei here, N. So 2N and N is going to fuse to give me 3N, triploid structure. So this becomes the endosperm. So one gives rise to the embryo, that is the zygote develops into embryo. The other gives rise to the endosperm. Okay. Since it is 3N, this structure is called as triple fusion. Okay, children. So triple fusion means I have the male gamete, second male gamete fusing with the polar nuclei. And this is a characteristic only in angiosperms, and it happens only in sexual reproduction, because pollination here is sexual reproduction in case of plants. Okay. So triple fusion does not occur in asexual reproduction, it occurs in sexual reproduction. So this is wrong. Okay. All right. Moon chip, I don't know what is your name. I am from Diksha, good to know ma, but I don't know your name. Okay. So here, double fertilization is unique to angiosperms is correct, but triple fusion is not a character of asexual reproduction. Okay, it is a character of sexual reproduction because it is happening by pollination. Hope you understood the concept. So that's going to be option C, which is assertion true, reason is false. Okay, so one is 2n, n into n plus n is giving 2n zygote, triple fusion is 2n and another n which is 3n, that becomes the endosperm. Alright, so we have the next assertion which says fertilization results in the formation of zygote. Zygote divides several times to form an embryo. I think this is very simple to answer. Assertion is talking about fertilization which is resulting in the form of a zygote. Reason is talking about the reason the zygote is dividing multiple times to form an embryo. So what do you think the relationship is? Okay, you can try. Yes, now Payal has given her own name, Payal itself. Okay, Lidin says A. Anyone else? It's a very simple assertion and reason. Fertilization is happening to give zygote, and this zygote is going to divide many times to form embryo. Okay, Dhanush says A, Litin says B, more or less. Okay, at least we get to understand that they are saying, okay, Harshvardhan says A, Payal says B. Okay, so the confusion is between A and B. Okay, so everyone agrees that assertion is true, reason is also true. But it is going to be option B. Didn't I give a hint by explaining fertilization results in the formation of zygote? It is talking about the zygote here, whereas your reason is talking about the embryo, children. Correct? So we have the next stage here. It is not talking about the zygote. It is not telling about fertilization. It is neither telling about the zygote. It is talking about the next stage, which is embryo. So there is no correlation between a zygote and the next stage, which is embryo. Both are right. Fertilization is going to give me a zygote. But this zygote is dividing many times to give me an embryo. Correct? Both are correct. But there is no correlation between the zygote here and embryo. Okay, so we can say that there is no relationship between the two of them. Okay. Okay, assertion says sexual reproduction increases the genetic diversities and plays a role in the origin of new species. The reason says sexual reproduction involves formation of gametes and fusion of gametes. Okay. This assertion and reason questions are slightly tricky, children. You need to practice to understand, or at least you read it twice so that you understand the correlation. Is there a connection or no? Just ask yourself question, is it, why, how, is there any relationship? Okay. How many questions we do? I am not really sure, Payal. Let's see how many are coming. Okay. Litin says A, Dhanush says A, Netra says B. Okay. So here also there is a slight confusion, I think, between the children. Everyone agrees that both are correct, but again there is a confusion if is it the correct explanation or not the correct explanation. I have asked you, ask yourself the question about reason. Why, how? Is there any connection between the two? Okay, this is how you are going to answer. So let's read the assertion. Sexual reproduction increases genetic diversities and plays a role in the origin of new species. Yes. Reason says sexual reproduction involves formation of gametes and fusion of gametes. Correct? So, isn't formation of gametes and fusion of gametes a reason for increasing the genetic diversities and formation of the new species? Can we say, is it because? It becomes one statement. How does sexual reproduction increase genetic diversity? Because there is a fusion of gametes, isn't it? If there was no fusion of gametes, I will not have a new species, it would be a clone. Because there is fusion of gametes, I am having a new species and there is diversity. Correct? I hope you are able to correlate what I am saying. So, we would say that both assertion and reason are true and the reason is the correct explanation of the assertion. Alright? So, just ask the question why and how. Okay? How does this sexual reproduction increase the diversity? How does it play a role in origin of new species? That new species is formed because I have a combination of two species here. Correct? Fusion of gametes. Yes. Okay, I hope you understood Harshvardhan. People who gave B. Okay, now Payal says A. Okay, next question. In human male, testes are extra abdominal organs which are present inside the scrotum. Reason says scrotum has a relatively lower temperature needed for the production and storage of sperms. So, this is the same kind of question which we had solved earlier where they had given us testis place in the penis, but here they have given the correct answer. So, let us not just do it again, it is the same whatever I have discussed. So, we know that in case of human males, testis is going to be present inside the scrotum. The reason why it is present inside the scrotum is because there is a relatively lower temperature. Correct? So, it is option A. Both are correct and they have given us the correct explanation. Yes. Okay. Assertion says at puberty in boys, the voice begin to crack and thick hair grows on the face. The reason says at puberty, there is a decreased secretion of testosterone in boys. Yes, most of them have given the correct answer for the previous question, I guess. Okay, now this is a very simple question. So, at puberty, when the secondary sexual character is developed, in case of boys, they say the voice is begin to crack and thick hairs grow on the face. The reason is saying that at puberty, there is decreased secretion of testosterone in boys. I think it's quite a simple question. Danush has given the answer, Netra, Litin, yes, Harshvardhan, all of them have given the correct answer. So, it is option C where the assertion is true, reason is false because it is not decreased, it is going to be increased secretion of testosterone, and this increased secretion of testosterone is responsible for the formation of secondary sexual characters. Okay, next assertion, surgical methods are most effective methods of contraception. Surgical method blocks the gamete transport and hence prevent fertilization. Okay, so here they have spoken about the surgical methods of contraception, which is vasectomy and tubectomy. Alright, and they say that these methods are most effective methods of contraception. They are saying why is it more effective? Just look at the reason, because it is going to block the gametes from transport and prevent fertilization. Quite a simple question this is. So, just by looking at it, you can get the answer right. Okay. Harshvardhan says yes. I think I myself have given you the answer by saying because. So, most of you all are, already with the answer. Yes. Okay. So, it is going to be A because I already used the word because. Okay. So, you yourself put because for reasons and then you will understand whether it is correct or wrong. Okay. So, surgical methods are very, very effective. They are just family planning methods. The reason why it is effective is because it is going to prevent fertilization by blocking the gametes. Alright. So, let us look at the long answer type of questions that is being asked. I have put in the repeated questions that's being asked from previous year paper, children. And before I go to these questions, let me tell you that in the starting of the video, last class you had asked some questions. Some of you were asking about female feticide as well as population stability. That also I have explained in the beginning of the session. Okay, so those of you who have doubt and those of you who want to listen to what is female feticide and population stability can replay the video in the beginning. So you will get the answer to both of these concepts when you replay the session. Okay, so here they have given a diagram showing the longitudinal section of the flower and they have asked to label the parts style and anther. So this is a short answer question. Already the paper has given you the diagram and they have just asked you to label which is the style and the anther. So we see the style and anther being labeled here. So stigma, style, ovary and ovule is a gynoecium, which we are calling it as carpel or pistil, and in case of stamen we have the anther and filament. So last class also we saw this. Okay, so what is pollination? What are the changes that occur in the flower after pollination? So pollination is a sexual mode of reproduction in case of plants. So any flowering plant, I told you, any flowering plant which is having the ability to have a male and female gamete which undergoes pollination, okay, they all come under angiosperms. So angiosperms means they are all flowering plants and they reproduce by sexual method. So these plants don't reproduce asexually, it is by sexual method. So what is pollination? The transfer of the male gamete, the transfer of pollen grains from the anther or from the stamen to the stigma of the female. So from the male part to the female part, the pollen grains are being transferred with the help of pollinating agents. Okay, that is called as pollination. And what do you think will happen because of this pollination? Definitely fertilization is going to happen. And we saw the kind of fertilization happening, that is called double fertilization, children. Okay, so in case of angiosperms, the kind of fertilization which happens is called as double fertilization, which is a very important unique characteristic of the flowering plants, not seen in any other organism. Why? Because fertilization happens twice. One is giving rise to the embryo, the other is going to give rise to the endosperm. One is 2N diploid, the other one is triploid, that is triple fusion. So for this kind of fertilization to happen, first there should be the development of the pollen tube, because the stigma is on the top, correct? So this is the stigma, this is the style, this is the ovary, inside that I have ovules, and inside we have the embryo sac, correct? So the pollen grains will fall here onto the stigma. Now from the stigma they have to travel to the egg portion, or rather we can say they have to travel to the embryo sac. So who is going to carry this from top to down? We have a structure called as a pollen tube. So the moment the pollen grain falls on the stigma, we have the development of pollen tube, that is called as germination of the pollen tube. So a pollen tube is going to form, and this pollen tube is going to carry the two male gametes to the egg. So a long pollen tube is going to germinate, and this pollen tube is carrying the pollen grains on the male gametes up to the egg. So once it reaches this structure, that is embryo sac, we have fertilization happening, correct? That double fertilization, whatever I explained you. So the next process is fertilization, where the pollen grain is going to enter into the ovary and it is going to fuse with the egg. Zygote is going to be formed. And after that what happens? We have the ovary which is going to become the fruit. Then we have the ovule which is going to become the seed, correct? So ovary is going to give the fruit and ovule is going to become the seed. We have other structures, right? That is the petal, sepal, stamen, style, stigma. They are all going to fall out, and we have the formation of a fruit. Okay, so we have the formation, the end result of sexual reproduction is formation of a fruit. Alright, so explain why variations are observed in the offsprings formed by sexual reproduction. I think the same kind of question we have discussed in heredity also, correct? So in heredity or genetics also we have discussed the same variation leading to evolution. Here also it is the same thing, same concept, same question being asked. So what happens in sexual reproduction? We have a male and a female who is going to undergo sexual intercourse to give rise to a zygote. So 50% of the characters of the zygote is from the father, 50% of the characters is from the mother, correct? So what is going to happen? Yes ma, it is, to be precise, it is the ovule, it is not the ovum. Ovum is the egg, okay, ovule is the seed, okay. You please correct it to ovule, okay. Ovary is the fruit, ovule is the seed, okay. Yes, Netra, ovule is the seed, okay. Please make it as ovule, ovule is the seed, okay. So here what happens? There is going to be fusion or fertilization of both the male and female gamete. So when there is fertilization, what is going to happen? There is mixing of characteristics between the male and the female DNA or the genes, okay, and there is going to be crossing over. Crossing over means mixing of characteristics, which is otherwise called as recombination. Recombination means recombining. There is a fusion of the male and female DNA genetic material and it gives rise to the offspring. So when the offspring is going to get characteristics both from the mother and father, what happens? The individual becomes a new individual, correct? There is variation. When there is variation, there is going to be formation of a new species, which is evolution. Alright. So variation is only because of crossing over, recombination, mixing of characteristics between the male and the female gametes. Alright. Okay, what are the advantages of vegetative propagation? I think the same question we have discussed last week also. I don't know if we had time to discuss this, but again this question is repeatedly being asked. Many of the question papers, previous year papers, you can see this question. Advantages, I think I took up the example of banana also, which does not have seeds. So there this helps, correct? So vegetative propagation, mainly it is used to produce fruits which do not have seeds, okay. For example, we are not getting the notes. Okay, I think I have posted the link is posted ma, just look at the comment section, okay. So link is posted, you can download it, okay. It is available in the comment. Please check the comment in every video. The link is posted immediately after the class, okay. You can get it. So those fruits which do not produce seeds, it is going to be very, very helpful there, and it is going to get lot of plants in a shorter period of time in a cheaper method. It is easy to grow, and if you want to maintain a quality of the same, I told you, for example mango, I want to maintain the same taste of mango without any change, I can go for vegetative propagation. The same thing I discussed in my previous video also. Okay, so what are the changes that occur in a flower after fertilization? So same question, okay, the same answer whatever we have discussed for the previous question, that is asked in a different manner. Answer is the same, question is being asked in a different manner, children. The concept remains the same. What did we discuss? That is the formation of the pollen tube, germination is happening, double fertilization is happening where fusion is happening, ovary becomes the fruit, the ovule becomes the seed, the sepals, petals, stigma, everything fall off. We discussed. The answer is going to be the same, okay. Question being asked in a different manner. So you can say it is the same thing. Pollen grain is going to develop into the pollen tube, sepals, petal is going to fall off, and then we have the different cotyledons. Here further, if you want to develop the seed, you can say it is going to give rise to an embryo. The zygote is becoming an embryo, and the embryo is going to get a structure which is called a plumule and radicle. So last class I have given a hint for you to remember also. So suppose if this is my cotyledon, I have plumule On top, I am going to have radicle down, and these are my cotyledon. So this is a dicot because two cotyledons are there. So plumule is going to give rise to the shoot. Radicle is going to give rise to the root. How are you going to remember? R for root, R for radicle. Okay, so don't get confused. R for root, R for radicle. So radicle is going to develop into the root, plumule becomes the shoot, and then the seed is going to have a seed coat. Okay, so you can end up the answer with this manner also, or you can write it in the same way we have discussed in the previous question also. Both are correct. Okay, so here they have said, draw a diagram showing longitudinal section of a flower and label the part where pollination takes place. Again, very simple question. Please learn to draw this diagram. This is also being asked in many of the PY question papers. Okay, so just the structure of the plant is shown here. We have different labels, that is the sepals, petals, androecium and gynoecium. These are the four things you are going to show. Okay, sepals, petals, androecium and gynoecium. Okay, these are the four parts you are going to label, and further you can show the androecium, gynoecium parts also, that is anther and filament together showing the stamen, stigma, style, ovary, ovule, that is the gynoecium, and you can say where exactly the pollination is happening. You can say that the pollen grains are falling onto the stigma here. Okay, so pollen grains falling onto the stigma, this particular portion is where the pollination is going to happen. All right. Okay, what is fertilization? Distinguish between external and internal fertilization. Very simple question. Yes, ma, live process will be taken up in the next week. Okay, upcoming session we will have live process. All right, Lidin. So we'll have 2 classes of live process as you asked. Okay. So what is fertilization? Fertilization is the fusion of gametes. The fusion of the male and female gamete is called as fertilization. Okay. Fusion of the male and female gamete is called as fertilization, or in other words, you can say fusion of the sperm and the egg is fertilization. What is external fertilization? Fertilization happening outside the body of the individual. Okay, outside the body of the individual means in water. Okay, so most of the lower organisms, what they do is, say for example the fishes and frogs, they release their gametes, that is they release the sperm and egg outside the body into the water, and these sperms and eggs, they are carried by the water and they meet at a point. So whenever they meet, there is formation of the zygote, and this zygote becomes into the embryo. All right, but what is the chance that the water current is going to carry the sperm and egg? We are not sure. So it is just by chance, children. So when you take external fertilization, it is going to occur by chance. So okay, so by chance means it is not 100% guarantee that the organism will develop or there will be fertilization. It is just by chance. Whereas internal fertilization means the sperm is going to meet the egg inside the body of the individual. So sperms are released into the female reproductive tract by sexual intercourse. All right. So sperms directly go into the vagina, they reach the uterus, and then they go to the fallopian tube and they are going to meet. So there is a, yes Payal, let me read what you are saying. Okay, so when will you take? I think live process is next week. That's what I have answered. Okay. All right. So here the chances of fertilization is very high. Okay. So chances of fertilization is very high because directly the sperm reaches into the female reproductive tract and it is going to meet the egg. Okay. So the chances of fertilization is high. The pregnancy rate is very high. Okay. And definitely it is going to result in the formation of the embryo, which happens in case of human beings. So higher organisms go for internal fertilization. Lower organisms, mostly the aquatic organisms, go for external fertilization. Alright. So I hope you have understood the concept between external and internal fertilization. Fertilization happening outside the body of the individuals, usually in water, and the chances of formation of a baby is less, whereas internal fertilization is happening inside the body of the individual. Chances of pregnancy is high, chances of fertilization is high. So definitely it is going to result in the formation of a baby. How long will the sperm? It depends on individual to individual, depends on species. Say for example, in human beings, the number of days the sperm survive is around 4 to 5 days, whereas ovum survives only for 24 hours. Like that, for each and every individual or individual species, the number of days the sperm and egg survives varies. So based on that species, fertilization should occur. They have to meet by chance and they have to survive to form a offspring. Alright. So it changes from species to species. Alright. So yeah, I think that's it for the day. Okay. So next week, as you all want live process, we'll be taking up live process. Kindly join the next week's sessions. You can have a look at the previous year question papers. Once the session is ended, the link will be posted. Definitely please click on the link. You will be getting the PPT. It is available. In case you're not finding it, please post the comment. We'll be reposting it again. All right.
Next class Monday 6:15.
Okay, and the next class next week, it is going to be regular 6:15. Due to certain conditions, we had to prepone the session for the day. Next class, it is going to be 6:15. Those who have missed, please replay the session and you can watch it. Thank you all. Have a happy evening. Have a happy weekend. Good night. Bye.